5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast in partnership with Kidney Care UK, sharing faith, knowledge, hope, and love.
Hi, and welcome to Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast. I'm your host, Dee Moore. Christmas can be a beautiful season and a heavy one, especially when you're living with kidney disease. So today I'm joined by two renal counsellors, Sarah and Paula, to talk about emotional well-being, hope, gratitude, and simple ways to take care of yourself through the Christmas season. So wherever you're listening from or watching from, you're very welcome here. Let's begin. Hi, and welcome to Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast. How are you doing today, Sarah and Paula?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really, really good. I'm excited to speak with you both today. You know, having not just one, but two renal counsellors in this interview is really exciting. As the title of the podcast suggests, the Christmas season can be a mixed bag of feelings and emotions. And for kidney patients, especially those navigating very difficult circumstances, dialysis and the various challenges, side effects of medication, all these different things to think about, to cope with, etc., etc. And so what I really want to do today is share some tips and practical advice that can help kidney patients navigate this season. So thank you so much for joining me today to answer my questions.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure.
Yes, thank you for having us, Dee.
So I'm going to start with my first question. And my first question is, as we head into the Christmas holiday season, many kidney patients might feel a mix of emotions. Could you share about why this time of year can be emotionally challenging or uplifting for people dealing with a chronic illness?
So I think, Dee, that Christmas time's a really hard time for lots of people. Without kidney disease, I think you just have to watch an episode of EastEnders or Coronation Street around Christmas time. And I know that's a bit of an exaggeration, but people find Christmas difficult. You add having a chronic illness like kidney disease on top of that, and it's like having an uninvited guest come into your Christmas. And that guest could behave really well. They could just join in and you'd hardly know they were there. Or that guest could behave really badly. And in that, I mean, you could be unwell over Christmas. You could just be exhausted over Christmas. You could just be completely overwhelmed at Christmas. And when you're feeling unwell and having the extra pressure of Christmas on top of everything, you really feel like you're letting other people down. And so I think that Christmas is a really hard time can be a really hard time for kidney patients because it's adding an extra stress onto the Christmas period. It's also can be a really hard time for the families of kidney patients because they're all together looking at that person that, might not be as well. And they might have to pick up a bit of the slack if that person has got the energy just to do the things with the family. But Christmas is also a time where you get to spend time with people that you love. And it's also a time when you can let your kidney disease take a backseat and focus on something else. And you can do that, especially if you organize your Christmas well. So if you don't try to push everything into one go and exhaust yourself. So if you plan your Christmas, it can be a great time for kidney patients too. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I agree with you, Sarah. One of the things, of course, is that Christmas is really evocative. Whenever any of us think about Christmas time, we all carry memories with us of Christmases past. And they can be uplifting memories. They can be challenging memories, but I don't think any of us are not impacted by if somebody uses the word Christmas. We all have a sense in us, a felt sense of what we're expecting from our Christmases. But if we're focusing on some of the uplifting things that Christmas can bring to us, there's that sort of anticipatory excitement that can propel us forward. There's also a sense of community. Sarah, you said there's a time for coming together, and there is a real sense, there can be a real sense. I know that it can be a lonely time for some people, but there is a heightened sense of community. People are asked to look out for other people, to check in on other people. So there can be this sense of a greater potential for connection. And also, it's a situation, it's an occasion that happens for all of us. And sometimes kidney patients will say to us that they feel very different, that they can feel very excluded from things. And actually, Christmas is this communal time. There is a sense of it happening to all of us. We are all the same in Christmas at that point. And so I think from that point of view, it can sometimes be an uplifting thing, just to be experiencing the same feelings, watching the same adverts, complaining about the same TV programs as everybody else.
Definitely a mixture of emotions and feelings and experiences there, but so much there to smile about, to be happy about in the midst of so many challenges. And so that brings me nicely onto my next question, which is about hope. From your perspective, how important is hope for someone managing a chronic condition like kidney disease, especially during the holidays?
So finding hope is what we do in the therapy room. We are constantly finding the hope. Because without hope, it's very dark, and that's where depression lies. And so when we're working with clients, we're constantly looking for where the light is. And I think that Christmas time is a great time to sort of regenerate hope, because absolutely the year that's just passed and is coming to a close might not have been the year that you'd hoped for. It might have been a really dreadful year, but there's a new year coming. And I think that if we spend time thinking about what do we hope for the next year, we can sort of set our feet in that direction and work towards that hope. It doesn't mean to say that everything that we hope for we're going to get, but it sets our mind in a more positive direction. And by doing that, it's been shown through study after study that people who are more positive when they have a chronic illness have a better, more positive outcome. So I think Christmas is a really good time to look to the future and think about what our hopes are. So, Paula, what do you think about that?
Yeah, hope is central to, I think, all of us as human beings. There's a Desmond Tutu quote that says that hope is being able to find the light in the darkness. And I think that's really, really pertinent at this time of year. We get to October, November, and the sort of clocks change and we get darker. The lights go down, it gets dark from 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. And then you come into this festive season and you see the lights start to go up, maybe from sort of early November for some people, but certainly you see lights going on in the streets, you see lights going on in people's houses. And I always think that at Christmas time, being able to be in our homes, having some twinkling lights, there is something about those lights that feel as if they are a sort of stepping stone towards the spring. Things may feel dark. They may feel bleak. It is the bleak midwinter. But we have those lights, whether they're on a tree, whether they're on a house, whether they're on a big reindeer in our garden. But we have lights that are literally lighting up and guiding us. And so seeing hope as a stepping stone, not pretending that times aren't tough, but just being able to say in the same way that those lights lead us through into the light that comes with spring, that those lights are shining out in the darkness. They give us something to hold on to and to hope for other possibilities. So really, really central.
Hope for me is everything. Having that hope that no matter how bad things get, that there's gonna be a better day. That tiny light in the darkness at the end of the tunnel that gives you something to aim for, that gives you something to hold on to while you're going through it, knowing that one day, that hope that it's going to get better, I think for me has carried me through some really, really difficult times. So hold on to hope. I think hope is everything as a kidney patient. So I definitely agree with everything you've said.
I think as well, Dee, following on from what you said, sometimes we can find it hard to generate hope for ourselves. And in those circumstances, if we're feeling challenged, if we feel I can't seem to find any hope, we can ask for it. Ask for hope from somebody else, a loved one, a friend, saying, I'm all out of hope today. Could you just give me something to be hopeful about? There are, if we're not feeling it in that precise moment, let's ask for it.
Absolutely. I think we need to have the courage to ask for help. If we need that help, everybody has somebody that they can reach out to in their social circle or beyond when it comes to, a counsellor such as yourself or a friend, family member, someone in the religious organization, somebody that you can trust and reach out to. If you, like you said, if you need that hope and you can't find it within yourself, then reach out, speak with somebody, ask for help. I'd like to focus on gratitude. Could you talk about how practicing gratitude might benefit someone going through a tough health journey?
So, Dee, I've got a really good example of this recently with a couple that I worked with. And they came to us because the husband had started dialysis and was really struggling. And the wife practiced gratitude a lot in her life and in the sessions. And it was really interesting and illuminating for me to see how the impact of that. We're always learning from our clients, and this lady found things to be grateful for, and they would be big things, and they will be also be tiny things. So it could be that she would say to me, "I'm just really grateful because we've had a really strong marriage up until this point. We've had 40 really good years together. So that's a big thing to be grateful for." Or it could be, "I'm really grateful he was able to eat lunch today and hold it down after his dialysis. Um, and I'm really grateful to the hospital transport guy. He helped him out of the car." So it was little things and big things. And the impact of that in the therapy room was really interesting to watch, because it sort of spread like a little beam of light into the therapy room, because she was saying, "I'm really grateful. Up until now, we've had 40 years really happy. We've sort of had a really good marriage, and this is a bump in the road." And she would talk about great things that she was grateful about him. That spread like a little beam of light to him. And he was going, "Oh, right. Yeah, well, yeah, I suppose we have, had a good." So I think gratitude's a really important thing to help balance out the negative and focus on the positive. And going back to hope, it's that same sort of setting your brain in a more positive way.
Yeah, and following on from Sarah, you saying setting your brain in a more positive way, there is a strong body of evidence around neuroscience that shows that the changes that happen in the prefrontal cortex of our brain here when we practice gratitude, they make a positive impact. We know about the neuroplasticity of the brain, but they have a positive impact in us being more easily able to access feelings of emotional well-being, and also resilience. And so, gratitude. What is gratitude? And in effect, it's giving thanks, but we can be giving thanks to ourselves. We can be giving thanks to other people. We can be giving thanks to Mother Nature. We can be giving thanks to something in our faith that we are grateful for. But that small act, maybe starting the day, doesn't need to take more than 60 seconds, but just to start the day with the intention maybe of saying, I'm just giving thanks for the fact that I have woken up and I've been able to sleep in a warm bed and I've been comfortable, or I've been largely comfortable. I'm really grateful that I can go downstairs and put the kettle on and my water will boil. Small things. And then again at the end of the day as well, I'm grateful that today was okay. It wasn't a terrible day. It was an okay day. But just being able to maybe top and tail our days with the intent of giving thanks for them, makes some positive changes in our brain and makes those pathways when we are needing to be resilient, when we are having to face up to the challenges of kidney disease. Those small little intentions are just helping our brain find its way into that space of emotional well-being and resilience. And that's really, really important.
Just following on from that, Paula, that notion at night time to, think about things that you're thankful for, sets the brain in a good way to go to sleep. So just a little top tip there for people that have difficulty sleeping. That's a really good thing to think about before you go to sleep. When we look at people that talk about suffering from insomnia, one of the things that I was listening to a podcast recently from a sleep specialist, and they were saying maybe at 5 o'clock in the day, write down the things that you're worried about, and go and have a bit of a worry. Give yourself a 15-minute worry slot, and then say to your brain, okay, I've done my worrying for today. I can put that to the side until tomorrow morning. And then adding on to today, I'm grateful for it. You're saying to your brain, you're actually giving your brain that message. Okay, the worrying's done. I'm grateful for this. And that is how you set yourself to go to sleep. You're more likely to have a better night's sleep with that.
I like that. It's like you're scheduling worry. So you've got it out the way so you can get on with your day and you can sleep at night. I really like that. When I think about gratitude, there's a song that I've sang many times called Count Your Blessings, Name Them One by One, and it will surprise you. And I've sang that many times, and in many ways, this is what we're talking about in terms of gratitude. For me as a person of faith, I thank God for the blessings that I receive on a day-to-day basis. And when you say out loud, like you said, it's like in many ways it's like a mantra. Like gratitude is when you're naming the different things that you're grateful for, it's like a mantra that you're speaking into your subconscious. Like, I'm grateful for, being able to have this conversation where I can learn so much that can help me personally. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to share this episode to hopefully help other people. And when you're saying these things out loud and you're hearing it and it's going into your subconscious, it's like in so many ways, like a stress relief in of itself. It's really, really good. So absolutely, I think, being grateful helps you focus on, again, it helps you to have that hope, because when you're going through something really difficult, but you can still name things to be grateful for, it gives you some hope that it's going to be better. So I really love that one. So yes, gratitude.
And I absolutely agree, Dee. And I think our brain is wired for risk. It doesn't have, there's not an easy ride. I often think we've got two pathways in our brain, and the road to more challenging thoughts, to sometimes more negative thoughts, I often think that's like a very well tarmacked motorway, and our brain goes down that one really quickly. It goes from 0 to 70 very, very fast. It can get down there, boom, and we're there. We're in sometimes a place of negativity, and it's very natural for our brain to do that. It's constantly trying to think of risk. It's constantly trying to keep us safe. And then I sometimes think that this other path is maybe a little bit overgrown, and this is the path to things like gratitude and hope and that positivity, and that's maybe got a few brambles, and it's a bit tougher to sort of climb through that path. And each time you do something, as you were saying, each time you state that intention, each time we either write down, we do a little journal for our gratitude, or we speak it out loud, I always think that's just a little layer of tarmac going on that path, and it's going to make that path more accessible. So we know that it's really easy to get down the path to negativity. This one over here, to the nicer road that we want to take, is a little bit more of a struggle. But every time we do it, we're clearing those brambles, and we're making it a little bit easier to get there.
Absolutely. It's definitely good to do that work, because if you don't, you'll just be left with the stress. You'll just be left with the darkness. So, when you were saying as well about lights, I love those little LED lights that you can get. I've got some in my home that I tie around the stairs, and I don't know what it is, but just switching that light on when it's dark just makes the home, even before I turn the central heating on, it just makes the home feel warmer and nicer and brighter. And in many ways, these little these, whether it's a little thing to be grateful for or a big thing to be grateful for, is like those lights that you said. It just makes life and your experiences that bit lighter and that bit warmer.
Absolutely, Dee. And if you think about that, when you turn the lights on, darkness is frightening. And the lights very often just take away a bit of the fear, don't they? So I think that you're absolutely right. Anything that can light up your home or your life's a brilliant thing.
So what are some practical coping strategies that you'd recommend for kidney patients to manage stress or stay resilient during the Christmas holiday season?
So, Dee, this is from my own personal life that I'm going to tell you something. At Christmas, we just make it so big, don't we? Everything has to be perfect. We add so much pressure onto ourselves. Something I did over the last couple of years, and I'm not going to do this year, is I decided, on top of like working up to the last minute, having Christmas presents to buy for my family and everything else, I was going to make my own Christmas crackers. Like, what a stupid idea. I just don't have the time for that. But I just thought that'll be a little extra thing, that'll be a little extra special thing to have on Christmas Day. And so at the last minute, I'd be going out shopping for tiny, tiny little gifts that would go in these crackers. And something I've thought this year, I've thought Christmas doesn't have to be all like more and more and more. And I think that if we just cut back and thought about what's really important on Christmas Day, it's about actually spending time with the people you love. Everything else is fluff. And, so I think for Christmas, we should think about what's going to make us happy around the Christmas period, whether we're spending it with family or whether we're spending it on our own. What are we actually going to enjoy? Is it going to be, we don't have to follow any routine of anybody else's. We just have to suit ourselves. And so, whether that is you're going to watch, I don't know, Love Actually or a horror film on Christmas Day, who cares? It's whatever makes you happy. So I think my advice would be cut out the fluff, focus on what you want to do and aim for that.
Yeah, I completely back that up, Sarah. I think it's really important, if you are recognizing some signs of feeling stressed, feeling a little bit overwhelmed, our normal routines often go out to the window, but being able to carve out a little bit of space, even if it's just 5 minutes, even if you hide in the loo for 5 minutes and listen to a piece of music that you really enjoy. But there is something about knowing when we are close to reaching capacity, and then being able to give ourselves something that will help us. And as Sarah said, that can be watching a film. If there is a piece of music that you love, just pop that up on Spotify, pop that on the radio, but just something that you know will connect you with a more peaceful state of mind. Maybe going outside. It might not be that you need to walk very far, but just being outside, being in amongst nature, taking some deep breaths, and then restoring yourself and going back in. One of the things that I do, one of the things that, gives me pleasure, and other people might have something similar, a favorite perfume or a favorite aftershave. Give a little squirt of that. I sometimes, in terms of an act of self-care, I'll just pop on a little bit of hand cream and just rub that in and just take the time to smell it, using our senses, just coming away from that sort of feeling of overwhelm sometimes in our body, and going outside of ourselves, connecting back to our senses. But that's a little treat for me, and I enjoy doing that. And it's a really positive message to send to ourselves, to say, actually, I need 5 minutes. And I deserve to have 5 minutes, and I'm going to really enjoy that 5 minutes. But whatever it is for anybody, just taking the time and carving the time out for you.
And I think everybody is so different in terms of what works for them, and that is perfectly okay. I think one of the things, and I'm going to say something quite controversial here, but I don't like turkey. And so like every year we have, traditionally have turkey at Christmas, and I wouldn't really enjoy the meal so much because I don't really like turkey. And then I think I finally plucked up the courage when I was younger to say to my mom I don't like turkey, and the following year she did chicken and instead, and I was so happy. It was just like, it just make, the event even, better for me. So it can be a simple thing like that. If you don't like turkey, don't feel like you have to have turkey. Have chicken or salmon or goose or whatever it is that you enjoy more, to make the day better for you. I really encourage you. Be brave if you don't like turkey or whatever it may be or whatever tradition it might be. Just say and try something different.
Therapeutically, Dee, that's a really good thing. We would say bravo, because you're asking for what you need. That's always a good thing.
And my final question is, what is your personal word of encouragement for the people listening to this podcast and watching this podcast who may be struggling during this season?
And I guess I would say, I know Christmas can be a challenging time, and I personally love Christmas, and I get really excited about Christmas. And sometimes members of my family will say, "Oh, it's too early," or "You're doing too much." And I always personally say, Christmas isn't just a time of year; it's a state of mind. And I think that state of mind can be about anticipatory excitement. It can be about spending time with people we love. And that time is really important. And it can be about community, and it can be about love. And so that sense of community and love and having time with the people that are important to you, or even time with yourself, that's what I would wish for everybody. Comfort and joy.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Paula, for joining me. Thank you for all the tips and strategies that you've shared today. I know that this will help so many people out there. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Dee.
Thank you so much for watching and listening. And a huge thank you again to Sarah and Paula for joining me and sharing such supportive and practical encouragement. If this season feels difficult, I want you to remember you're not alone. You don't have to carry everything by yourself. Be gentle with your body, be kind to your mind, and take things one moment at a time. And before you go, don't miss our bonus episode on Christmas Day, featuring message of encouragement, hope, and gratitude from you, the listener, from past guests, and Kidney Care UK staff. It's going to be a real lift right when many of us need it most. If this episode helped you, please like, subscribe, follow, and share it with a friend. Until next time, take care and choose to live.
Diary of a Kidney Warrior podcast in partnership with Kidney Care UK, sharing faith, knowledge, hope, and love.